When you've been lying about something for so long, it becomes second nature. You think you're going to get the truth in a town like this? When you've been lying about something for so long, it becomes second nature.
Do you see the beauty of it? The inevitability. You rise, only to fall. You, Avengers, you are my meteor, my swift and terrible sword, and the earth will crack with the weight of your failure. Purge me from your computers, turn my own flesh against me. It means nothing. When the dust settles, the only thing living in this world will be metal.
You remember me?
How you doing tonight?
Doing well, officer.
Can I see your driver's license, registration, and insurance, please?
Of course. My license is right here, my wallet. It's all right, son. You remember the night in July?
Hands up! Hey! Wait! Put the phone down! Put that phone! Sorry, it's a phone! It's a cell phone! It's just a cell phone!
You knew he was unarmed.
Push in the car and put your hands in the air! Officer, please, he's just a kid!
You pointed your gun at him.
Okay, get out of the car, son. Easy.
He pulled the trigger.
Put the phone away! Put the phone away!
The grand jury determined that no probable cause exists to file any charges against Officer Randall.
This is my son. This is my little boy. You took that from me. The world took that from me. Today we make that right. Hear me when I say this, because I'm only going to say it once. Don't stop filming.
You should just give up now.
Why are we the only people in this country that are expected to do things without violence?
I didn't mean to kill your son!
What you did.
I did what I was trying to do!
I just want justice. That's all I want. This is your jury. The deciders of your fate. Today, you will be tried for the murder of my son. You scared? Are you afraid?
So begins the end.
Now, all you black folks, I suggest you get away from all these white folks. Not you, Stephen. You're right where you belong.
We're still on Legends of Roll Call, and this is the part of the video that's dedicated to showing you that everything about hip-hop was meant to promote all the abominations, to evoke in feelings the reason, the need to commit abominations among children of Satan. So the reason, as we've said, is because there's been a lot of people who are hidden, committing wickedness. And since we're at the end of time and the time of the harvest has reached, in which evil has to be weeded out, therefore evil has to be mature. And as with the custom or tradition in agriculture, when any crop is mature and ready for harvest, it always shows its fruits. So hip-hop culture and every other culture that you find that has been promoted through media was meant to do one thing and one thing only: to to make sure that everybody who is committing abomination can be clearly seen, will clearly come forth out of the closet. For example, right now in today's history, you have a lot of people who are going through surgery. They have piercings, they have tattoos. They commit all sorts of abominations like homosexuality, pedophilia, rape. And all of this is possible through the media, through hip-hop culture, which promotes a feminization of men. Because all the energy that you find which the hip-hop artists, any of your favorite artists who portray, whether his name be Jay-Z, 50 Cent, maybe the older hip-hop artists, all of them do one thing and one thing only, to make sure that you, as a person, if you are a child of Satan, that you show yourself as a child of Satan, so that it can be clearly seen by those who follow after righteousness, who have been deceived not to see. Because this is the video, this is the exposure of the legends of roll call, things that have been legends, every single thing that has been a legend, which has tried to deceive your mind from seeing the truth, so you will see clearly with your two eyes now this deception. Therefore, hip-hop culture was engineered for one single purpose only, to make sure that those who are the children of Satan, who were hidden, will show and expose themselves glaringly for all to see. Is the reason why in the past decade or thereabout, homosexual laws have been created to make sure that deviancy is promoted everywhere. Is the reason for the preaching of LGBTQ. Is the reason for promoting an open mindset. It's the reason why Christianity preaches love, so that all these people can come forth. It's Satan at work. But let me explain something that you people do not know. Everything that Satan does, all right, is only fulfilling what the Creator said. This is what was acted out in the movie called Deja Vu, which we played a clip for you on the intro of the Legends of Roll Call, which is on our channel, which you can look up. Every time Satan tries to stop what the Creator said would happen, whatever he does is only going to make it happen. This is the truth. So every time Satan goes to fight and make sure that the truth does not come out, his fighting is only going to make the truth to come out. So every time Satan oppresses the remnant, all right, through the kings of the remnants, the Pharisees and the Sadducees, the learned elders, all right, who run the world with the Vatican today, what he is only doing is making the truth to come forth. Because the Creator had said that for 1,000 years that he will be successful in oppressing the remnant and wiping out their memories so they do not know who they are. He will be successful doing that. But as he keeps on piling the oppression and trying to make the world not to know who the remnant are, and produces evil people who take up their identity in albinos, anybody with straight hair, the scum of the earth, the demon-infested field people, which the Creator warned all humanity to stay clear of. And then Satan also inspires people like the Hebrew Israelites to take the identity of the remnant. The more they do this, the more they are only going to reveal who the remnant really is. So that is the great wisdom of the Creator, that no matter how you turn this thing around, just like Ultron said it, and we played a clip for you, that's why you keep hearing the clip throughout the whole entire Roll Call series. No matter how they twist this around, no matter what they do, They wipe out the name of the creator from the internet such that people do not even know the name of the creator. All they have is the name of Satan. In all the names we mentioned, whether it be Jesus, whether it be Christ, whether it be Holy Spirit, whether it be Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, whether it be Jehovah, whether it be Adonai, whether it be Yehoshua, Yeshua, all the names of Satan. No matter what Satan does at the end of the day, he is only going to make the truth to come out. Satan has been trying to prevent the end of the world for a very long time. And we'll get into that when we get to that portion of the Legends of Roll Call, for you to see that. But everything he's done has only made it to happen much more quickly than it should have happened before if he did nothing. So if Satan did nothing, this world would have gone on longer. It probably would have taken if the world was going to end, for example, this is an example. It's not an actual time reference on when the world ends. Let's say if this world was going to end in 1,000 years. Now, a lot of people who listen to that are going to be happy that they still have 1,000 years. Fools. Nincompoops. So if this world was going to end in 1,000 years, by Satan's actions, he's reduced it into a couple of years. A couple of years there does not mean up to a certain amount which you people expect would be a couple of years in your understanding of a couple of years. So what Satan is doing is only speeding up the end. And he's lying to his children, the kings, the Sadducees and Pharisees, the learned elders, that he is trying to prevent the world from ending. All right? He's changing the weather because everything that the world goes through in terms of global warming, the rains, the tornadoes, the hurricanes, the tsunamis, the volcanoes, the earthquakes, all the weird weather that's going on, it's because Satan is trying to prevent the end of the world. But the more he tries to prevent it, the more he is hastening the process. And we'll get into that later. But for now, we want you to understand that everything about hip-hop was to make sure that everybody who was a hidden child of Satan comes out and is seen clearly. So hip-hop culture promotes every abomination under the sun. So that if you're a homosexual hidden in your closet, everybody now openly knows you're a homosexual because they've given you freedom. They say it's illegal now. You can be an open homosexual in public. So everybody now is open. Everybody is imbibing it. So this is why I'm trying to make you understand that the population, the public, is the greatest problem in the world. Because as we will get into full explanation later on, when the kings, the Sadducees and Pharisees, the learned elders of this world, create laws, they are not the ones, all right, who enforce the laws. When the kings of this world and the government make the laws, they are not the enforcers of the law. The public is the one enforcing the law. So let me give you a typical example. The government made a law that everybody should stay 6 feet apart from each other and wear a mask during the fabricated COVID-19, which became possible on the public because of albinos, anybody with straight hair, the scum of the earth, who are demon-infested field people who will always do wickedness. So that is why they are always in the forefront to enforce the law. So when the government made that law and says everybody should stay 6 feet apart and wear a mask. The public enforces the law by doing as what the government told them to do. So the public enforces the law. Because imagine this, if everyone said, I am not going to stay 6 feet apart and I am not going to wear a mask, what would the government do? Nothing. But the public enforces the law. So for example, if you got into a store and you didn't wear a mask, who do you think would point you out? It's the public, the wicked public, who would say he's not wearing a mask. So in the world that we're living in today, the public is your greatest enemy. So anybody who is ignorant, who has no common sense, who does not know the truth of this world, who believes everything that the government spills out, no matter how nice and good they are, because the commandment does not say you should be nice and good. It says you shall not do wickedness. This is where people get confused. Those people who are ignorant, the public is your enemy. Because they are the ones who will be pointing a finger at you for you to be killed in the future as we get into what's going to happen next. They will point you out for not wearing a mask, that you are the evil. They will point you out for saying that you are not going to engage in homosexuality. They'll point you out for being the person that you are by refusing to live as they live, and they will make things harder for you. So until you follow after the truth and start practicing it and knowing it for real, not just listening, because all the idiots on our channel who are listening every day are wicked because they have not gone after the truth. They do not know the name of the Creator. They do not know His commandments. All what they are fixated on is transgenders. They have never taken a step to get the book. They think that goodness should be free. But we are not responsible for the wickedness that's in society. We do not have to do anything for you for free. We do not owe you anything. So this is what people do not understand. The public is the greatest evil that you are going to face as we get into the ends of the world. So the sooner for you understand that and separate yourself and go after the truth and start growing your own crops. Because COVID-19 was possible, the whole lockdown was possible, in which the whole world was locked up. And some idiots still don't recognize that we are living in a new world and one world order. We have always been. If it was not so, the whole world would not have been locked up for 3 months in 2020 during COVID-19, and even longer more. So that whole bullshit that you hear, that people want to rule the world, is nonsense. The world has always been ruled, one world, the whole entire world, by people. So that's why you've always had empires. You've had the Egyptian Empire. You've had the Assyrian Empire. You've had the Greek Empire. You have the Roman Empire. And you have another one right now, in which we will not mention the name. And we will mention it on The Shape of a World. So the public is your greatest enemy. So the sooner you start going after the truth and looking for it, you are doomed and going to the lake of fire. So before we continue with this particular part of the page, we've been trying to read this page to you, but we haven't been able to show you what we want to show you. Let's read something from scripture which concerns the wearing of jewelry. As we've explained, all wearing of jewelry is for females. If a man wears jewelry, it effeminizes him, because jewelry is an ornamentation. It's used to connote beauty. And beauty is only for women. So when a man wears jewelry, it effeminizes him. Now, let me explain something which you guys don't understand. Every time you do something that is in the unnatural order of the way the Creator made things, what you have is the power of demons working. So, for example, for a man, jewelry is an ornament for a female. So once you break that natural order and start wearing jewelry, earrings or anything that you wear as jewelry on your body as a man, what happens? Satan gets into it. Demons get into it. And you start evoking a form of masculinity that's no longer masculinity, but effeminity. And that is what hip-hop culture promotes. Because you see all the men wear jewelry. What do they look like? Do they look like men or they look like pretty girls? That is what jewelry makes you to look like as a man. Let me show you some pictures. So here is a picture of Tupac Shakur. Now, I want you to pay attention now. I want you to imagine that you have never known there is an artist called Tupac Shakur, that you've never met him, all right? You don't know about him. And because the reason why I'm saying so is because a lot of people, through the music and to the portrayal of Tupac Shakur's image on TV, actually believe that Tupac Shakur is a gangster. That means he was very, very violent, rugged, was as is should be a man through the music. But let's say you've never met Tupac Shakur before. You don't know about his music, you don't know who he is. If you look at Tupac Shakur, would you think that he's a gangster by the way he dresses? Because looking at Tupac Shakur's image right here with all this jewelry, it makes him look effeminate. He's got earrings, he's got nose rings, and he wears a necklace. So what are we trying to explain to you? So before that, let's pull up another picture of Tupac Shakur. Here's another picture of Tupac Shakur. Clearly, right? He's got rings, right? He's got a nose ring, got an earring. Does he look in any way, shape, or form? If you've never met or known about Tupac Shakur does not look masculine. He looks like a pretty girl. Why? Because every time a man wears jewelry, because jewelry was designed only for females, and we're going to show you that in the scriptures again. Every time a man wears jewelry, you are imbibing a demon. Why? Because you've broken natural order. Because ornaments was meant for females. So once you break that natural order and you wear on yourself jewelry, it effeminizes you. It means it starts making you look like a female. And demons get attached. And when demons do that, what do you think happens? Another male who's homosexual sees you, right, with all this jewelry, looking like a pretty girl, and he walks up to you and engages you in a conversation and tries to get to you to be a homosexual. And because you're a child of Satan, all right, and with hip-hop and the atmosphere which says it's okay to be open-minded, what do you think you're going to do? You're going to be a homosexual too. You're going to say, let's try it out at least once. This is the reason for hip-hop culture. It was designed to make sure that every abomination that the Creator said that you should not do, right, becomes a normal thing, becomes acceptable, so that all the hidden children of Satan will come out of the closet and be who they're supposed to be, so that you, if you are a child of the Creator, can clearly see and identify by the hearing from a high priest at this point in time in history, so that you would see with your eyes and hear with your ears and know who is who, because we are at the precipice of the end of the world. So jewelry is only for females. And when we say it's only for females, it means you should not, as a woman, pierce your body in any way to wear jewelry. You don't pierce your nose. You're going to find out as we read it in the scripture that there's no such thing as nose piercings for a female. You don't pierce your tongue. You don't pierce your belly button. You don't pierce your nipples. You don't pierce your genitalia. The only place you pierce on your body as a female, which was a tradition set to identify females at birth, is your ears. If you're wearing anything else as a piercing on your body as a woman, you are going to the lake of fire. Let's read that now. So we're reading now from Exodus chapter number 35 from verse 22, which we have read previously to you. We want to read it again so you see it clearly. Because as long as you do not hear the truth, because this is how the human mind works, as long as you do not hear that truth from a high priest, your understanding is null and void. So that's why all the idiots who think they can by research know any information will only arrive at one conclusion: lies, and then they're going to the lake of fire. That's how it works. I'm not a high priest, I'm just delivering information. So I don't want you guys thinking and saying, are you saying he's a high priest? I have told you I'm not one. Okay? I'm just delivering information as they tell me, as the high priest tell me. Okay? Let's read now. Exodus chapter number 35 from verse 22. It said, and the men, pay attention to the words, and the men, everyone to whom it seemed good in his heart, brought from the women. That means the remnant, the real children of the Creator, all right, did not wear jewelry as men. They brought the jewelry from the women. Did you see that? So when hip-hop culture is promoting the wearing of jewelry, you see all these homosexual hip-hop artists in the industry wear all sorts of jewelry, huge necklaces, chains, and everything dripped out in gold, earrings, piercings, anything. You can see right here that the men wore no jewelry, because it says here very clearly that the men, every one of them, brought from the women, brought seals. What is a seal? The seal here is talking about hair jewelry. All right? It's interpreted as seals. It's talking about hair jewelry. That means all the fine jewelry like hairpins or whatever you women put on your hair to look beautiful. That's what it means, the seals. Now, pay attention, because we're reading with very specific words for you to see and understand what we're trying to get at. That they did not have any piercings, no nose piercings, no tongue piercings, no nipple piercings, no body piercings of anywhere besides your ears. Let's continue reading. It says they brought seals, which means hair stuff, hair jewelry, earrings. See that? Finger rings, right? Necklaces, bracelets, every article of gold. So in all that we mentioned, did you see anything that had to do with tongue rings or nose rings or nipple rings or body rings or any sort of rings that had to do with you piercing your body? Did you see any of that? Let's read it again. And the men, everyone to whom it seemed good in his heart, brought from the women, brought seals, earrings, and finger rings, and necklaces, and bracelets, every article of gold. Let's read the next line for you to see that all this is an ornament. Okay? Ornament means to beautify. It says in verse 23, and all as many as brought ornaments of gold to the Lord. So jewelry is an ornament, a beautification for a woman, is not for a man. So every time as a man you wear jewelry, right? You are effeminizing yourself and setting yourself up to go to the lake of fire. So a lot of people who think, in this particular example, that they are doing the commandments of the Creator, because there are a lot of males out there who think they are doing the commandments of the Creator, but they do not know what the commandments of the Creator are. Because the commandments of the Creator does not say you should do good. So you have a lot of good men who do good, and they wear jewelry, they wear earrings, and think that they are following after the Creator. They study their Bible, they read the Bible, and do all the false Christian doctrines like fasting, right? The Creator never asked anybody to fast. If you see that in your scriptures, it was imputed by the wicked scum of the earth, albinos, anybody with straight hair, white supremacists, who imputed that from the religion of Hinduism, in which Buddhism or Buddhism, if that's how you want to pronounce it, all right, is what they practice, which Christianity is. The Creator did not fast for 40 days and 40 nights. That was imputed. We have no time to get into that right here. We'll do it on the Shape of a World. For those who want to get the truth, they'll know how to arrive there. So when this person who wears earrings, all right, studies his Bible and says that he's doing the commandments of the Creator, okay, he is actually working for Satan, because the commandments do not say you should do good, and they do not know that. It says you shall not do wickedness. Totally different thing. So this guy who's wearing earrings, who loves the Lord as he claims, and does good in the neighborhood, is going to the lake of fire. He's wearing earrings. So if you've been wearing earrings before now, okay, and everybody else who's been wearing earrings before now, they are all going to the lake of fire. But in their minds, they would have thought that they were following after the Creator. But they were not, because they are wearing jewelry, which is an abomination, because the commandments say that a man shall not wear upon himself anything that does not show his gender. You shall not wear things that pertain to the opposite sex. That is what the commandments say. It is an abomination. So can you see how many people are going to the lake of fire now? So that you can clearly understand what we've been trying and pleading with you. And you can imagine the number of people who have had an opportunity to know the truth, okay? By getting in contact with our books and our DVDs over 4 years now. They probably listened that whole entire time, as a lot of people are listening right now, and will not get up to get the truth because they think that we are trying to sell them something, or that what we are saying on the videos is the same thing as in the book, or the DVDs, or the Shape of a World that's coming up. Do you see now that they had an opportunity and they did not go after it, which now proves that they were children of Satan indeed, because this is how things work. So anytime you're ignorant, anytime you're lazy towards the truth, right? Anytime you are a procrastinator, you keep on procrastinating, you say you will do but you never do or go after it. Every time that you do not keep the truth, you're inconsistent. Every time you know what to do that's good for you, like a lot of you people know that the lifestyles that you live for your health is not the best, but you keep on procrastinating. Everything else is important than for you to actually do what you're supposed to do so that you can be healthy. You are all going to the lake of fire. This is the truth, which nobody will tell you. So no man should be wearing jewelry in any shape or form, because wearing jewelry effeminizes you. As you can see right here, even the finger ring. Did you notice that? Even the finger rings, as it is showing right here, was for females. It was not for the man. Take a look. It says, and the men, everyone to whom it seemed good in his heart, brought from the women. That means they did not have it themselves. They did not wear it. They brought from the women, brought seals and earrings and finger rings and necklaces and bracelets, every article of gold. Finger rings. They did not even wear it. All right, let's continue with Legends of Roll Call. So the reason for this particular article was to show you about Daphne Joy. Daphne Joy is supposedly 50 Cent's baby mama, right? I think has one of his sons that I think is called Sire Jackson or thereabout. But Daphne Joy is not a woman. Daphne Joy is a transgendered male. So that's part of the reason why we tried to read this portion of the screen, just to show you that 50 Cent himself is a homosexual, because if the mother to your child is a man, it means that you're homosexual. So where is the birth mother? This is the so many atrocities and abominations that the people put before us in celebrities do for albino supremacists, white supremacists, the scum of the earth, the cause of the earth. Now, on this particular video, you're going to find out, because this was something that was known in history, and you've probably heard black people say it, but when they say it, it sounds like they're saying something that's filled with hate, or sounds like something that they're saying out of being a fanatic for trying to promote black people, or they say it out of, when they say it, it sounds like they're just crazy. But you've heard it before, but today you're going to know. You've heard this sentence when they say that white people are evil. Have you ever heard it? They have said it, but they haven't explained it for you to understand why white people are evil. Because whiteness is evil. Whiteness is the opposite of blackness, the consummation, the saturation of all color, which is black. And whiteness is the absence, total absence of color. So whiteness is in opposition to blackness, which is life. So if you've ever heard it before and they say that white people are evil, and when they say white people are evil, they are talking about albinos, anybody with straight hair. As long as you got that type of hair and that body, and you know, it doesn't matter what ethnicity you call yourself, whether you be Asian or Oriental or Hispanic or South American or American or European or South African or Australian, it's all the same people, because they all come from one origin. And you're going to find out today on this video. If you ever heard that statement from black people, because especially the people who say it always seem to be the leaders, the so-called black leaders, saying that the white man is the devil. You've probably heard Louis Farrakhan say so. But Louis Farrakhan himself, he's being employed by white supremacy, because all this information that they give you is not really information, is to sell you a deception, but at the same time it contains a little bit of truth, so that when you go to the lake of fire and they tell you, did you not hear that white people are albinos, anybody with straight hair, let me put it right, are the evil? And then you say, really? And they'll play what Louis Farrakhan told you and said, white people are the devil, and you think it's a joke. But today we're going to make it very clear, because as we keep on going down this road to reveal the truth to you, we haven't said anything yet. So wait till you get there. So looking at 50 Cent right now, we wanted to show you that 50 Cent is a homosexual by this statement that he made. Now, we pulled up this particular screen picture that you're looking at from a Wikipedia page on 50 Cent himself. All right. Now we read the particular portion that we circled in red, and it says here, 6 months later, the rapper told MTV News that he had switched his support to Barack Obama after hearing him speak, but had lost interest in politics. So this is talking about the fact that 50 Cent wanted to get into politics a little bit. He said, asked his opinion of President Obama's May 9, 2012 endorsement of gay marriage, right? 50 Cent, who's known as Jackson, said, I am for it. have encouraged same-sex activities. Did you hear that? Let me make you understand something very clear. There is no such thing as a political debate over right or wrong, okay? When people say that in politics, what they are saying is like, let's debate, all right? Let's make good and evil to be debated. That means let's see if we can change wickedness to be good. That is politics. Politics is in opposition to the Creator because it does not speak the truth. It speaks for the wicked public. So if a man says that he is for something, all right, that means he himself is guilty or condoning it. And remember this, anytime someone condones homosexuality, you've heard this in people before. Oh, well, I have a son that's homosexual. I'm not a homosexual myself, but I'm not against it. My son is this, but it's okay. That's just the way people are. If you've ever heard people make those kind of statements, they are going to the lake of fire, because an accessory to a crime is guilty as if he did the crime himself. That is how things work. So 50 Cent here says that he's encouraged same-sex activities. What does that mean? He is a homosexual. Let's read it again. It says, I've encouraged same-sex activities. I've engaged in fetish areas a couple of times. What does that mean? What does it mean to be fetish? Fetish means to practice everything that is an abomination that the Creator said that you should not do sexually. He said a man should not sleep with a man as if he sleeps with a woman. You shall not commit bestiality. You shall not be a rapist. You shall not commit pedophilia. And you shall not inbreed. So when a man says that he is in a fetish, it means he's doing abominations that sexually he should not do, which includes homosexuality. And this is what 50 Cent clearly said. Now here is how, the people lie to you. So I want to show you how they lie. It says here, he had been criticized for anti-gay comments in the past. Why would they put that statement on? Because it is a deception. People, this is how deception works. They tell you the truth, all right? Then use a lie to make you believe their lies. This is exactly what you're seeing. He's told you a truth. Now he's used a lie by making this statement. He had been criticized for anti-gay comments in the past. So you think that he is not a homosexual himself, because we are living in an age of deception. Deception to make sure that the children of the wicked do not see that they are wicked, so that they can go to the lake of fire. So here now, the deception is for the wicked. If you get caught up in this deception, it means you are the wicked and you are going to the lake of fire. Let's continue on with Legends of Roll Call. So here's a picture of Daphne Joy. Daphne Joy has been a model in so many music videos. There's a video in which he starred with T.I., and he's been around a lot of rappers because everything about hip-hop industry is all about homosexuality. It's a rite of passage for you to get into that zone, for you to get that label contract, right? The rite of passage is homosexuality. And once you engage in it, it means that you are going to the lake of fire. There is no forgiveness for any abomination that's committed that's sexual in nature. This is what Christianity has hidden from you, for you not to understand that fornication is not an unmarried man, right, and an unmarried woman sleeping together, that means two single people sleeping together, there is no penalty for that in the Bible. We don't have time to explain all that on this particular video. If you guys are interested, you get into the truth and then you'll get it. It's on one of our videos, which is called The Remnant. All right? You get all that explanation there. But getting back to what we were saying, fornication has nothing to do with single people sleeping together. That is not fornication. The scum of the earth, albino supremacists, changed the words of the Bible so people will not understand, because it's what they did that makes them to be albinos. And we'll get into that later so you understand that albinism and albinos are enemies of humanity. They are enemies of black people. The Creator said so. They will never seek your peace, never seek their peace. That is why for the many years that albinos have lived in this world, all right, they are still at the throats of black people, even when you're doing them nothing. Because black people haven't done anything to them. But they still attack you day and night. Why? They are born of Satan. They worship Satan. Their history and origin shows them that they identified Satan as their father. We'll get into that later. But for now, let's show you what's going on here with Daphne Joy. Now, here's a perfect example of trying to show you how a female, all right, and a man walks. Now, this picture that you're looking at right here has been photoshopped. It's an excellent example of showing you how perfect Photoshop can work. All right? We don't have time to show you the differences in the Photoshop, but this is an excellent example because these two people have been photoshopped crazy. All right? Now, the first thing that you have to know about Photoshop, let me explain that to you. If you take a picture of yourself, the background, all right, is going to be as much as in focus as the foreground. Foreground means you in the picture. Background means what's happening all around you. Photoshop starts with blurring the background. Why? Because when it blurs the background and makes changes to the foreground, which is you in the picture, all right, the background is not going to show a lot of distortion for you to see that it has been photoshopped. So if you look at the edges of this female, let me blow this up if you guys can see it on the screen clearly. You will know that the edges of this female right here in the foreground is not sharp. It looks jagged, like someone took something and was trying to freehand draw, because your arms shouldn't be creasing like this, as you can see around this black woman here. All right? And if that is a tattoo, remember this, no matter how small that tattoo is, even if it's a dot on your body, you are going to the lake of fire because you intentionally cut yourself. And that is what demon-possessed people do. They cut themselves up. It means you're filled with demons and you have no knowledge of the Creator. You're going to the lake of fire. So, looking at the lines here, they do not look crisp because it's been photoshopped. So, the same with every angle line here, it's been photoshopped. It does not fit correctly with the background. But that is not what we're trying to show you. We're trying to show you the two differences with what we can to show you what a female looks like and what a male looks like by the collarbone. Because if you notice in this picture right here, the collarbone of Daphne Joy is seen 3D. It's very, very prominent with the knobs, the ending of the knobs of the collarbone in the rib cage, as you can see right here. You see the collarbone from the top, you see it from the bottom, and you see this ending knob because Daphne Joy is a man. But over here in this female, can you see that you cannot really see the collarbone, the knob ending, and it from the bottom? Because this is a real female. So she has breast tissue and breast muscles hanging there to support the breast. So you never see a woman's collarbone from the bottom. You won't see the ending knobs as you see right here on Daphne Joy, because Daphne Joy is male. Another thing that we have to show you is the walk. All right? With a woman, the arms of the woman will always try to hang tight to the body and follow the curves of the hips. As you can see right here, if you follow my mouse, you can see that it's spreading and ends where the hips of the female is. right? It shows that that's a female hip. With Daphne and Joy out here, it is straight all the way down because this is a man. And the arms refuse to follow the contours of the body. It's so wide apart from the body because this is a man. Now, they photoshopped the hips. They added a lot of curvature here to lie to you that this man has hips. But this is where the hips are right here. And all this is Photoshop because Daphne and Joy is 100% male. Another thing we can show you is how they walk, all right? If you notice the female, the black female on the left, if you look at her hips, right? The way her body is swaying into this walk, all right? Because she's catwalking. All the weight is sinking into the foot that's in front. You can see that the whole body right here is slanting. That means the center of weight is all into this foot. Can you see that? Now with Daphne and Joy, who is faking how a woman should walk, even though she's putting this foot in front of her, the way this hips, all right? Now, pay attention now. He is moving in the opposite direction. What is going this way, all right? And the leg is going that way. So if you notice, it's not streamlined with these hips, okay? Which is fake all the same. But with the female, you can see how it's streamlined. It looks like the hips to the leg is in a diagonal angle. If you notice that, hips, legs, diagonal. You could actually draw and see that it's diagonal. With this one, the hip is right here. It's not diagonal at all. It's almost straight all the way down to this foot. So this is the differences of how a woman walks and how a man walks. When a woman moves, the whole weight of her body, all right, is moved into the leg that's in front of the stride. And therefore, you're going to see how the hips from this angle right here to the foot is in a diagonal manner. With a man, it's not going to happen that way. It's straight. As you can see right here, how this man walks. It's straight. The whole weight is not leaned into the foot that is in front of the stride. Let's continue with more pictures. And here's Daphne and Joy again. And we want to show you the separation between the shoulder muscles and the tricep muscles, which all males have. Because once you're a man, there's a clear separation between the shoulder muscles, as you can see right here, and the tricep muscles. With females, this doesn't happen. So that's why females have what they call the nursing mother's arm, because there is no clear distinction between the shoulder muscles and the tricep muscles. So Daphne and Joy is 100% male. And this is Photoshop. Another thing, Daphne and Joy is trying to put his hands on the female waist, but it does not exist because Daphne and Joy is male. And this is the supposed mother of 50 Cent's son. All right? Because everybody in hip hop, as a rap artist who has a label deal, is a homosexual. If you want to get to the top, which you'll never get into, and we'll explain that on The Shape of a World why you'll never get there, you have to be a homosexual. Now, for the wicked who hear that, they'll think that the way they're going to get success is to try to get into homosexuality, to get to the top, to be like 50 Cent or Jay-Z, all right? But you still won't get there. We'll explain that on The Shape of a World, but this is not the video for it. So this is Daphne and Joy from the back. So remember on the videos that we show you of how you identify a female from the rear, we did make mention of the fact that with males, the hip is so far away from the bum line if you're a man from the back. With females, the hip is closer to the bum line. So what you're noticing right here on this man is that this is the bum line and this is where the hip is at. Right up there. The widest point on the hip is far away from this bum line because Daphne and Joy is 100% male. Even with good Photoshop, this still shows you that it's a man. You can still see the distinction right here. Let's blow this up so you can see it well. All right. See the distinction of the shoulder muscles and the tricep muscles. Do you see that? With males, there's always a clear separation of the shoulder muscles from the tricep muscles. And you can see this in 3D. Follow my mouse. Shoulders right here ends and triceps here, because Daphne Joy is 100% male. You can still see that separation of the shoulder muscles from the tricep muscles here. Shoulder muscles right here ends, tricep muscles start. With females, you'll never see that, because there's no clear distinction between the shoulders of a female and her triceps, because that is just the way the Creator made them, so that these liars, these children of Satan, will never be able to deceive you. All right, let's continue on. Now, this is not a very clear picture of Daphne Joy, but at the same time, we just decided to use it because it's clear enough for whatever we want to show you. You can see right here that the way Daphne Joy tries to place his hands on the female waist does not work, because this is the position where males place their hands, because the female waist is right up here. And the way she places that hand is very comfortable. If a woman tried to do this, you would see the awkwardness of it, because that is not her waist, it's her hip. But the way Daphne Joy does it shows you he is 100% male and not a female. We just wanted to put this up for you to see that everybody who does hip hop, all the great artists are all homosexuals, but the homosexuality is a cover for something else. So for example, if you get on, let's say, a lot of YouTube videos, they will tell you how wicked the music industry, that everybody is a homosexual. You've probably heard of a person like, is it Professor Griff? He used to be a part of, I think, Public Enemy. Have this whole expose on, the hip hop and music industry that is homosexuality. And he tells you so much information. But that is a cover, because Professor Griff is covering for something else. He's paid well by white supremacy, and he himself is a homosexual. Because how did he get into Public Enemy? How did he become a big star? Because the rite of passage to becoming any of those great stars and all the celebrities and all the politicians in the world is homosexuality. If you don't do it, you will not be given that position, that label contract. So how did Professor Griff get to be on a label contract that was so great, right? I think as Public Enemy. How did Professor Griff, who was a member of Public Enemy, get into the position of being a star, get a label contract? Because he had to commit homosexuality acts. It is a rite of passage. If you don't do it, you're not going to get in there. That is the obvious truth. So this whole idea of them painting a picture and telling us that people like Puff Daddy, Sean Puff is a homosexual, Will Smith is a homosexual, everybody in Hollywood is a homosexual, which they are. That's fine. Is a cover for something else that there are no words to explain it until when you get to Shape of a World. It's a cover for something totally, and there is no way to explain it. It's not even remotely close to anything that you can imagine. It's so far away from anything you could possibly think would be possible. In a million years, you would never fathom to know what these people that are in front of your TV screens are up to. It is earth-shattering information. That is why the end of the world is deemed upon us. That is why the whole internet will be shut down. Back, and everybody who did not know how to create their own electricity, grow their own food, will be sent back to the Stone Age, and they have to receive that artificial intelligence chip, because it will be what they call the rapture. We talked about this before on Roll Call. But now you're hearing why and how it's going to happen now on Legends of Roll Call. Let's continue on. And here is a picture of Daphne Joy with Jason Derulo. So all these people are homosexuals. It's a rite of passage. It's a norm. It's a tradition. There's nothing there. If you're going to be in the system, you have to be that way. Male or female, you're a female artist or not a female artist, you're a male artist, they all have to engage in homosexuality. It is a rite of passage, period. It doesn't matter who tells you that they've been in Hollywood and they haven't done it. You probably heard Cat Williams say, oh, I never wore a dress, okay? Or he would say such things that they couldn't get him to get in a dress. It does not mean that him, Cat Williams, did not have to get involved in homosexuality. It is a rite of passage. As long as you get on that TV in anything that's done in Hollywood and you become a big shot in Hollywood, all right? You have to get involved in homosexuality. Cat Williams may not have worn a dress, but he definitely engaged in it, in homosexuality. It's a rite of passage, period. Let's continue on. And just to show you that a man's skeleton never ever changes, this is Daphne Joy, and the hips right here are above the crotch. Crotch, that is the widest point on the body, the hip right there, because Daphne Joy is 100% male. And you can even tell by this collarbone structure again. Take a look at the collarbone. See, it's popping right out there because Daphne Joy is male, not a woman. And here is another picture of Daphne Joy. Can you see the arms right here as it swings outside? It's not fully in the contours of the body. And this picture is highly photoshopped. But the skeletal structure can never change because Daphne Joy is 100% male. And here is Daphne Joy again trying to tell you that he is a woman when he's not. Look at the arm placement. No woman will do this. The arms don't rest comfortably. He cannot even place the arms on the female waist because it does not exist, because Daphne Joy is 100% male. And this is the straight back of Daphne Joy. Straight back, no arch, because this is 100% male. Just to show you that everybody in hip-hop is a homosexual, because this is the supposed baby mother of 50 Cent's son, Isaiah Jackson. Terrible. And look at this. This is 50 Cent all cozy with the man. And a lot of people who look at this will say, oh, damn, I want to be like 50 Cent. What does that mean? Because every time, all right, that you admire somebody, you have to accept their lifestyle. You have to accept who they are. And when you accept who they are, what do you think you're imbibing? You're imbibing demons. Because as we've explained, everything around you is a trigger for your mind. The people who are into the occult, as 50 Cent is deeply in it, know this truth. They know how to use your mind so that the children of Satan can come forth. If you were hidden, you will come forth out of it. You break free and become openly homosexual. And here is the supposed son that he has, all cozy. What do you think this son is going to turn out to be? Now that you've understood that evil produces forth evil. There is no such thing as repentance and changing your ways and you become good. You're either born evil or you're either born as a righteous child of the Creator through the remnant, who were the only people whom from lineage have always been people of the Creator. So where do you think Sire is going to go now? He's going to the lake of fire. Because whatsoever is born of evil is evil. There is no such thing as children reaching the age of accountability to decide if they're going to do good or bad. Baby snakes is still a snake. A baby scorpion will still sting. It won't change. That is how it works. And here is still another picture of Daphne Joy to show you the deception. Look at that. The arms refuse to follow the curvature of the female hips. It's angling outside the body. And you still can see this clear separation between the shoulders and the arms. Even with all the makeup and all the surgery, this is 100% male. And the widest point in the hips is above the crotch, not below it. because Daphne Joy is 100% male. And here is 50 Cent one more time, all cozy with the man and with his son. Where do you think they are going to now? All right, let's continue with Legends of Roll Call.
What I liked about him is that our relationship, we didn't do our relationship for the people. We didn't go and say, look, we at the fight. Look, with this club, or we doing this. We did it for me and him. We would go in there, have fun, and we was real deep on a lot of stuff. I mean, real deep. We was at the point where we used to have conversations, and I'd say, you know what? I work hard at what I do. You work hard at what you do. We're a perfect team. And if something happened to go wrong and I'm not there, you know, you got to pick up the pace and make it happen. Tupac to me was insurance for me. What I mean by that, because the people at Death Row, the community, and fans depend on me to make sure records good or toys be given away on Christmas.
So the reason why we played that short clip for you to see Suge Knight, because it's believed in hip hop culture as the stories that we're told about Suge Knight, that he's a gangster, he's killed so much people, and all that good story just to create this kind of aura around Suge Knight. Now, white supremacists, albino supremacists, who are in charge of telling us lies, the scum of the earth, employ black people to control black people, to control the mindset. Because once you do remember that albino supremacy is a construct of Satan, white supremacy is a construct to control the minds of all black people, then every black person in a place of power that you see, then you get to understand that they are working for white supremacy. They have none of your interest at heart. So all the stories that is constructed through the media, especially concerning hip hop, is all constructed to promote one thing and one thing only: all the abominations. So that whosoever was a hidden homosexual, a hidden pedophile, a hidden rapist, a hidden murderer would come out in the open. Now, if you paid attention to the words of Suge Knight speaking on Tupac Shakur, because Tupac Shakur is a homosexual, and as you can see right here, even with all the gangsterism that you've been made to believe about Suge Knight, he's wearing an earring. Once you wear jewelry as a man, it effeminizes you. All that tough talk and all action and all that makes you look like a pretty girl. Because why? Homosexuality is feminism. This is one thing that you will never hear except on this channel. Because once you're a homosexual, what does it mean? You are becoming a female. You're trying to be effeminate. You're trying to be feminine. Because men are not supposed to act in an effeminate manner as a woman. So right here, the story of Tupac Shakur. And before we start this story, because I want to show you with proof that Tupac Shakur is a homosexual, because of the next people that we're going to be pulling up in pictures for you to see. But let's go over this conversation which Suge Knight made here about Tupac Shakur. Now, let me tell you how homosexuality speaks. If you listened very attentively to what he said his relationship with Tupac was not for the people, but it was for him and Tupac. Let me ask you a question. Which grown-ass man says that he has a relationship with another man? Because people don't pay attention to the words. Do you, as a friend, if you have a man that is your friend, say that you are in a relationship with him? No, it's females who speak that way. Females use feminine terms. I am in a relationship. I like the man. I love the man. That is a female way of speaking. So even though popular media and hip-hop culture has made men to use the words love towards another man, this is not masculine speaking. It's homosexual speech. But through hip-hop, this has been made to be allowed and acceptable. So men now use it. What happens when a man starts speaking like a female? He's imbibing homosexuality. And because hip-hop was created to make sure that everybody who was hiddenly homosexual becomes openly homosexual, what do you think is going to happen to that man? He's speaking homosexual language, so he becomes a homosexual. So before he was a hidden child of Satan, now he's openly known. This is what hip-hop was designed for. You have to understand that witches put a spell on you. A spell can only work if you do not counteract the spell with the commandments of the Creator. That's how a spell works. That is why they say spell it. What does it mean? If I tell you to spell something, you imagine the stuff. If I say spell the word I, what does your mind start imagining? Someone's eye, and you start saying E-Y-E. An image of an eye is now imputed into your mind. So this is how witches talk. When they tell you spell, right, it means they've cast a spell on you. So if you start using tenses and phrases of witch language, like so many people use it today, they are seeking a vibe. What does that mean? When you say you're seeking a vibe, you have a vibe in your mind. When you say you love a man, what does that mean? A spell is cast in your mind and you start having homosexual tendencies. So from Suge Knight speaking here, in which language, in which only the initiated into concealed mystery will understand, and those who practice the evil, they know that Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight were what? Were homosexual partners. And for your information, Tupac isn't dead. He did not die in any shooting whatsoever. Neither did Biggie Smalls die in any shooting whatsoever. Biggie Smalls is dead, alright, but he did not die in any shooting. Do you know what happened to Biggie Smalls? Let me tell you how white supremacy functions, okay? Now, Biggie Smalls was handpicked to be a so-called legend of rap music on the East Coast, alright? But Biggie was going to die anyway because he was very sick. Biggie was over 300 pounds and the weight was climbing non-stop. He had issues with his breathing. He had issues with everything. So Biggie was going to die one way or the other. And the white supremacists, the albino scum of the earth, said, we are going to make you a legend. You're gonna die regardless, but we will make you a legend. So they knew that Biggie was going to die anyway. So they constructed this whole farce that he was shut up to make him a legend, to immortalize him in the minds of people, in the minds of wicked people, in the minds of the wicked public who do not go after the commandments of the Creator, who do not know the commandments of the Creator. Because every time they think they are doing good, they are actually doing evil. Because the commandment says, you shall not do wickedness or evil, not you shall do good. So Biggie Smalls did not die in any shooting. Is he dead now? Yes, because at the rate he was going with his health and weight issues, he was going to die. Now, with Tupac Shakur, the story of Tupac Shakur goes way, way back. Because in the same manner that albino supremacists decided to create a legend, all right, out of Biggie Smalls on the East Coast, what happened in the West Coast was something that they had to manufacture. And how did they have to do that? I'm going to tell you a story. This story is not truthful. It is just a story. But the names of the characters are used allegedly. So listen, as we have said, it is a story. It is not true. It's just coming from my mind. And the names of the character are used allegedly. So the story goes like this. White supremacists, the scum of the earth, present hip-hop. Hip-hop is introduced into humanity, the culture, the music, to promote all abominations, right? And hip-hop starts on the East Coast. Now, the inventors see that this could be huge because unlike music, with hip-hop, you can talk about anything. But with music always has to follow a certain path in the sense that the lyrics have to match, there has to be a flow and a pattern in the singing to the song. And with singing, you cannot really do much. But with rapping, you can say and do anything that you want over a beat, and it's much more useful to pass your own form of casting spells upon the public and promoting their abominations. So, when hip-hop starts in the East Coast, the people from whom this art form is imbibed speak good English, simple words, lyrical flow, without a whole lot of abominable behavior and speaking. Alright? Meanwhile, hip-hop is not really endeared by the public that much. It's a new art form. The public are not really much into it because they are not really interested in the part that music has to change from you singing to you talking over music. So, on the West Coast, there is a drug kingpin who runs drugs for the so-called celebrities in Hollywood, whose name goes by Eazy-E. Eazy-E is a Crip. That means that he is a gangster. And Eazy-E starts making music. And when he starts making music, he calls his own form of music gangster rap. Gangster rap is different from the rap on the East Coast because it's using a very, very specific beat, a type of beat, and it has the fluidity of using gangster talk. So Eazy-E, a drug kingpin selling drugs to the celebrities in Hollywood, starts making money and starts developing a fan base on the West Coast. And the white supremacists see that this is an avenue in which they could take control of this fan base, alright? And they could mark parental advisory, and that they could use all these bad words to sell a different kind of abomination to the masses. This is what they think about it. But the person who is doing the music is not someone that we control. It's not someone that we own in Eazy-E. Alright? So Eazy-E, as his fan base is growing, he's looking for new producers to keep on making his gangster rap flavor music. So Eazy-E is looking for new producers to start working with on his invention of gangster rap, and he meets Dr. Dre. Now, Dr. Dre is doing electronic music. I want you to pay attention now. Dr. Dre is doing electronic music at the time that Eazy-E meets him. And he is part of a crew called the World Class Wrecking Crew. Now, the World Class Wrecking Crew have a contract with the major label, right? But the contract goes awry, all right? And doesn't go according to plan. And so, Eazy-E meets up with Dr. Dre. Now, the albino supremacist, because Dr. Dre is a homosexual. You have heard this before. You've heard Suge Knight himself say it. And you've heard also Tupac Shakur say it. Alright? Dr. Dre is a homosexual. So the white supremacists see and think, Dr. Dre would be a good avenue to actually find a way to take over West Coast rap, alright? Which Eazy-E is inventing because he has a big fan base on the West Coast, alright? Well, Eazy-E finds out that, okay, he's been making money selling drugs to celebrities, but that this music thing has more money in it for him as an inventor of West Coast rap. So, Dr. Dre now, who's out of a contract for whatever reason with his major label, he gets into a contract with Eazy-E, alright? Eazy-E is supposed to own a percentage of whatsoever Dr. Dre makes, okay? Now, the white supremacists now find out and say, okay, Dr. Dre, since we already have a contact with him in that we already had a label deal with him earlier, looks like the best contact for us to get Eazy-E, right? To control Eazy-E and control West Coast rap and mold it into how we want it to be. But we want to impose a person that we can control ourselves. And that person, after audition, happens to be a 16-year-old Tupac Shakur who is a homosexual. So, after Tupac has been auditioned now, they now set up Tupac with a great host of producers because the idea is this. Remember, Eazy-E started West Coast rap, alright? If you want to control rap, if you want to control the West Coast rap, you also have to control the personality. But the albino supremacists do not control Eazy-E, right? So in order to control West Coast rap, you have to control the personality, and the personality that they want to use to create a legend, to remove the memory that Eazy-E was the inventor of West Coast rap, is the person they infiltrate in as Tupac Shakur. Do you get that now? So, Dr. Dre serves as the middleman, okay? But Dr. Dre is in a contract with Eazy-E that he cannot get out of. Alright? You paying attention now? He's not able to get out of that contract because Eazy-E will not let go of the fact that he created West Coast rap. It is his property. And what do you think happened next? After that, your guess is as good as you can ever imagine. Eazy-E dies, right? And Dr. Dre is free of a contract. Because when people that you're in a contract with die, that means you're technically free, right? And what happens next after that? Tupac Shakur dies and becomes a legend. So Tupac now is remembered over Eazy-E. Because when people look at gangster rap and West Coast rap, where are they looking to? They remember Tupac Shakur, right? So the memory of Eazy-E, who invented the real rap, the West Coast rap, is gone. And all of a sudden, in order for the people not to remember that Dr. Dre, right, used to do electronic music, who wore lipstick, who is a homosexual, all right, they decided to change the image of Dr. Dre. So when Dr. Dre sounds like this, hey man, you know what I'm saying, you know who I am, that is all fake, because Dr. Dre did not speak that way until when he started doing beats for Eazy-E in what is called as gangster rap. It's all an image, because Dr. Dre is a homosexual, as you're gonna find out. So that is the alleged story to tell you and show you that hip-hop was created for one thing only: to promote abominations and to use homosexual people to promote homosexual tendencies. That is why you would hear Suge Knight use such words on the earlier video that he was in a relationship with Tupac Shakur, because that is only how homosexuals who are effeminate speak. Let's continue on with Legends of Roll Call. Now here is an image of Dr. Dre when he was much younger. He's the one to the left of the screen, even though this picture is blurry. But I want you to pay very particular attention and look at the way Dr. Dre looks right here. Does this look like a gangster to you? No, he's not, because this very image of Dr. Dre that we know today is an act. He does not speak that way, in which he tries to speak all the gangster mannerisms and lingo, because he was not a gangster. He's never been a gangster. He's just a straight up stooge of white supremacy because he's a homosexual. So all the money that he's made and say that he's made from Dre beats is just to prop up that image, nothing more. For you to believe that these people are the people they say they are, instead of the fact that they are all working for white supremacy. And here is Dr. Dre in the group that's called World Class Wrecking Crew. And I think it had a female called Michelle also. Now, looking at this picture right now, these are some very effeminate looking males. What is so gangster about Dr. Dre? How do you change? Because remember what we've always told you. Apples don't change to oranges. All right? It's not possible. You cannot have been suddenly not a gangster to becoming one. That is just how things work. So how did this man called Dr. Dre get to be doing gangster music? Because it's all an act. Even though this picture is not super clear enough, but it's clear enough for you to see that this is the whole members of World Class Wrecking Crew who were doing dance music and electronic music. Alright? Before, Dr. Dre was producing electronic music and dance music. But today he's known as a legend in hip-hop. How did that happen? Albino supremacy. The scum of the earth using black people who have sold themselves to them to make sure that they use to control the black minds, the wicked black minds of the world. So all hip-hop does is promote homosexuality. If you listen to a lot of hip-hop songs, you will hear them say, suck my, you know, the expletive that I'm supposed not to say on this particular video right here that starts with a D. Or let me just say it. They say, suck my penile organ. Now, why would any man say that, suck my penile organ, if the intention is not for a man to hear it? Because you only say those kind of things in private if you're with a woman. So why would you say it to an audience in which you know that males are going to hear it and females are going to hear it, if you're not trying to promote a certain idea that has to do with committing abominations? So everything about hip-hop is geared towards homosexuality. But since the people who are listening to it do not keep the commandments of the Creator, right? And they are evil and wicked, this will inspire in them all the abominations which they were hiding in closets to come out in the open. Now, this is a song written by Eazy-E called Real Compton G's. And let me explain something. Way back in the day when you had rap music or it came on the scene, rap music way back then was not controlled. That means the streaming or listening to music was not controlled through platforms. The reason why music has gone out of form in listening to it on CDs and listening to it on turntables is to control the people who create music. So back in the day when people were selling hip-hop music in the trunks of their cars, that means an artist would make a CD, go into the neighborhood or have some people around the corner, and those people will sell it. There was no way to control the content. So that means an artist had a lot of freedom to do as they wished. So the one thing that white supremacy always has to control is control your perception of reality. So when music back then, through the hip-hop artists who made it, had no control, they could say anything that they wanted to say and it was the truth. Now, all beefs today in hip-hop, in which people are feuding, is all constructed. Because they do not want you to understand that the reason why music came away, or the reason why they pushed from listening to music on CDs and tapes to now downloading it, was to control what people had the freedom of saying when they had tapes and CDs available, which they could sell. So you see how the government, how white supremacy has totally deceived the public, such that they got them onto streaming platforms and creating such things as the iPod, alright, in which you could download music, so they would totally forget the way they made music way back in history and become totally dependent on downloading and streaming, such that if anybody wants to make music right now, you have to get on a streaming device or platform. It's the reason for the explosion of all these streaming devices, whether it be Spotify, Tidal, and you hear all of them, Amazon Music. And before you can get on that streaming device, your music content has to be approved. People are going to sit down, the people which white supremacy own are going to sit down and listen to it. If it contains any truthful information, they are not going to allow you to get that music on that platform. They're going to come up with every excuse on why this song cannot be on their platform, besides the truth that it carries too much truth or is not geared towards what they plan, which is that people should listen to filth so that the filthy should come out and be more openly filthy. That's how deception works. So getting back to this song, we want to just read some lyrics of this song from Eazy-E called Real Compton City G's. And it says, it's talking about Dr. Dre here. The same records that you making is paying me because why? Dr. Dre was in a contract with Eazy-E. Whatsoever Dr. Dre made, Eazy-E had to make a percentage of it. I can't tell you the number right now. You can go find out for yourself if you're interested. So that means if Dr. Dre today was a billionaire, at the most, Eazy-E would own 25% of those billions if the money is even real, because all these people that they tell you are rich, it's all a facade. They are not that rich. Why? Because white supremacy cannot allow you to control that kind of money in reality. So what they own is just the riches on paper, and then they have a few houses and a few cars, but they really don't have that kind of money. It's all a lie. These people sell themselves to get rich. And this brings us to the explanation that we wanted to make you understand. What does it mean to sell your soul? Because you've probably heard this in the music industry, in which they tell you, I sold my soul to the devil. The people who tell you how they sell their soul, especially artists, you've probably heard like Kanye West say that he sold his soul to the devil and he came with a few checks or a few pennies or a few cars or houses or whatever he said. These are all lies. Selling your soul does not mean any of that in the actual sense of how things work. The true meaning of selling your soul to the devil, which a lot of people have been deceived, okay, into believing is something when it's not, is the fact that selling your soul to the devil means that you hand over your personal and private life to the label. They own it even after you die. What does that mean? So when you get on a record contract, that is the meaning of selling your soul to the devil. When you get a record contract with any of these major labels, you have to understand first and foremost that you have to engage in homosexual activity. That is the rite of passage. After that rite of passage, whatever music that you have to make, all right, when you write the lyrics, the record producers, the record executives will listen to it. If there's a word of it that does not conform to the agenda of white supremacy, they will have you redo the record, or they will have you take it out. Now, besides that, what happens next is this. Everything that you do in your life has to be run check and validated by the record label before you do it. So for example, when an artist signs a record deal, your phone messages, if you want to send a text message to your family or your friend, the record label has to check the message. The record label is going to determine who you are going to marry, who you are going to procreate with. You just cannot go and be free and marry anyone you want or be with anyone you want if you're a female. They have to check all of that. So selling your soul means that your very private life, the most private, intimate details of your life are perused by the record label and approved before you do it. If you want to get a car, the record label has to get it for you. If you're going on a journey, the record label has to be the ones that you let them know where you're going. You have to tell them who you're meeting. You have to tell them how many members you have in your house. That is what it means. It means everything about your life is controlled for the peanuts that they pay you. And even after you die, your image is still owned by the record company. That is what it means to sell your soul to the devil. So anything else they tell you, like they literally tell you that they sell your soul to the devil per se, is bullshit. It's all lies from you seeing that when a music artist makes a tweet on social media, that it is the record companies who are making them to make that tweet and to speak that words and to say whatever they say to you, because everything about them has to be controlled to give you a perception of reality which is not real. So people will believe that the things that these celebrities and artists do, that they are doing of their own violation. That means they are doing it not being coerced or not being pushed to do it. That is what it means. So that your reality can be controlled, so you do not know the truth. So for example, let's say for example, during this COVID-19, a lot of artists, celebrities, music artists, actors, directors came out and told you they were sick with COVID-19. Do you really think that they were sick in reality? No, they were doing as their record companies, all right, as the ones that they have contracts with would tell them to do. So even down to their families, this is how huge the record companies are. So they don't just control the artists, they control them down to their families, down to their children, because they are the ones who determine who you get married to, procreate, and have children with. The children are also part of that contract. That is what it means to sell your soul. So every time you see a celebrity come out for something and tell you, okay, this is what is happening on, they get on Instagram and talk to you, they are telling you lies, because all what they say is controlled speech, Whatever they do, whatever they show you on social media that they are doing, they go on journeys, they go on trips, they have a party. It's all controlled by the label, by the executive producers. So if you're looking for the people who are running white supremacy, look for that name, executive producer. And this is who you'll know is working for white supremacy. This is who you will hold and identify as the person who is making the world the way it is today. All right, let's continue on. So reading now from the lyrics of Eazy-E, Real Compton City G's. Do you now understand why the internet is going to be shut down in the future because of all this truth? Because there's a reason why things happen. There is a whole lot of information out there as we are presenting to you, and when people are listening to this truth, they are going to go and document it themselves too. But if you do not document it on a hard copy format in a physical paper, if it's only on the internet, it's going to change. But there is so much information out there that these people cannot change it all and keep on lying to you. So they have to shut down the internet. Do you get now why every microchip is going to get fried? Do you understand why now you're receiving updates upon updates on the internet, which is only trying to make sure that when the time comes that every microchip can be fried? Do you understand why they keep on telling you lies about the fact that there is internet hacking and control? Because this is all trying to set your mind up for the failure that will happen in the future. So you will think that it's organic for the wicked public, not for those who know the truth and are keeping and undoing and practicing the commandments of the Creator. But for the wicked. So their minds shall be totally covered by Satan. Now, reading here from the lyrics of Eazy-E, Real Compton G's, which is talking about Dr. Dre, it says, the same records that you're making is paying me. MF Dre, MF Stoob, MF Death Row. Yo, and here comes my left blow, cause I am the Eazy-E and this is the season to let the Real Compton G's in. You're like a kid, you found a pup and now you're a daper. Now, there is an unnatural relationship that exists between Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. What do you guys think that is? It's the same relationship which Suge Knight had with Tupac Shakur, a homosexual one. So this is what Eazy-E is talking about. But does that mean that Eazy-E himself was not a homosexual? Of course he was. Before you can get into any contract with white supremacy, homosexuality is a right, and Eazy-E had a contract. All right, let's continue reading. It says, but tell me where the hell you found that honorific rapper. That's talking about Snoop Dogg. Where did you find him? Because Snoop Dogg is also part of the crew. He's a homosexual. Snoop Dogg paints his fingertips with nail polish. Who does that? Let's show you a picture before we continue on. So here is Snoop Dogg. And as we've told you, every time as a man does his hair, because Snoop Dogg keeps long hair, if you're a male and you cornrow your hair, that is effeminate behavior. Cornrowing your hair is for females. And once you do that, where do you think you're going? Because the true scriptures say that no person should wear an apparel or dress in a way that is not the gender that he is. That all who put on cross-dressing or anything that pertained to a different sex is an abomination. So this is what hip-hop promotes. Snoop Dogg keeps long hair, wears earrings, and even manicures his nails and puts whatever varnish that female do on their nails and ornamentation. What do you think that is now? What picture is he trying to tell you? Because these people are all homosexuals. So that's why Eazy-E on the song talked about Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre. Let's continue on reading those lyrics. continuing says, but tell me where the hell you found that anorexic rapper talking about who you gonna squabble with and who you shoot. You're only 60 pounds when you're wet. What the hell is Easy E talking about? How does a man in Dr. Dre be 60 pounds when he's wet? What is he talking about? Homosexuality. Because men don't get wet. Men don't have a vagina. So if anything else is wet, it's talking about homosexual activity. All right, let's continue reading. It says, you're only 60 pounds when you're wet and wearing boots. What does that mean? You already know what wearing boots does with a female. Continue reading. It says, damn E, they tried to fade you on Dre Day. But Dre Day only meant Easy's payday. All of a sudden, Dr. Dre is the G thing. What does that mean? He's trying to tell you that Dr. Dre, all of a sudden, from being a homosexual and effeminate, as we showed you on pictures, that Dr. Dre was doing what they call dance music and electronic music. Then all of a sudden, he became the West Coast gangster because it's bullshit. It's all an act. It says, all of a sudden, Dr. Dre is the G thing, but on his old album cover, he was a she thing. So, suckers, please, suck, please. Did you see that? That is all homosexual language, telling you that Dr. Dre is what? A homosexual, a she thing. So, sucker, please, suck, please. So, this is what white supremacists try to control by changing music in the format from CDs, tapes, and listening to music through a turntable on records, to making you streamline music. And today, the public has totally forgot the mindset of CDs. And this is the reason why they are trying to eliminate the listening of CDs or anything that plays CDs and DVDs, because they don't want you to remember this is how history is wiped away, and you're seeing it as it's done. Because people don't even remember anymore right now that there was a time that they had CDs. Because if an artist wants to make music now, he's thinking of a streaming platform, so that the music and content can be controlled. So if the artist is ever going to expose what he's going to say, all right, they can be controlled. Is the reason for putting all of us on a streaming media such as YouTube. Because at the end of the day, this information that you're hearing, they will censor it, right? But because they have removed from your minds the idea that you should buy DVDs, this is why we put the information in the DVDs in a book, so you can get it and not think that all the information that we are presenting to you is on YouTube. We don't give you any good thing on YouTube. This is the honest truth. We are only trying to make you to get the information so you can have it for yourself. So that tomorrow, if YouTube gets shut down or all the media, this information will be there as a testimony. Let's continue on. So here is another song, because as we're trying to show you through everything here today, is for you to understand that hip-hop does not promote anything but all the abominations that the Creator told man not to do. And those who commit these abominations are going straight to the lake of fire. Now, the particular lyric that you're looking at right now on the screen is a lyric of a song called No Vaseline by Ice Cube. Now, a lot of people have listened to the song, but they've never asked the question, who is Ice Cube talking about, or what is he talking about, and who do you use no Vaseline on? Because what he's saying, no Vaseline, means there is no need for any lubrication, right? The only people that doesn't get lubricated in any act of penetration are women. So if Ice Cube is talking about no Vaseline, that means he's talking about what? Homosexuality. Now, let me explain something to you. If someone does not like homosexuality and anything that has to do with homosexuality, he will not be talking about a man's penile organ as if he were talking about a woman's vagina. This is the obvious truth. Real men don't just go talking about penile organs. And here's what you have to understand about homosexuality, which has crept up into a lot of, let's say, the penitentiary system and gangster mentality. The people who practice it, right, don't see themselves to be homosexual. So what does that mean? Let's say, for example, a gangster wanted to embarrass you or wanted to humiliate you, all right, in a very degrading way. He would decide that you should do a homosexual activity on him. To him who has told you to do that, he doesn't see himself to be a homosexual. He just sees that he is just trying to humiliate you as a man. But that is homosexuality. That is how people get things twisted, because in their mind, they don't think that they are homosexual because they asked another man to do a homosexual act on them because they want to humiliate him. But it is homosexuality. The action, always remember this, the action. Don't go for the words. Never listen to a man's words. Look at his actions. His actions are going to tell you what he is and who he is. Don't worry about the words. Look at the actions in anybody, male or female. Look at what they do, not what they say. Let's read now about Ice Cube's No Vaseline, which intentionally is showing you homosexual activity. It says, "Hey yo, Dre, stick to producing. Calling me Arnold, but you been a D. Eazy-E saw your ass and went it quick." What does that mean? It means Eazy-E committed homosexual activity with Dr. Dre. This is what they've all been doing. But at the same time, we just read a lyric to you in which Eazy-E is sounding like he's abusing Dr. Dre. Because like I've said to you, for anybody to get into the top of the world and make the money they make, you have to be involved in the worship of the Trinity. And the worship of the Trinity means that you have to be a homosexual. So everybody in your sphere of contact who is a person of influence that you listen to in music, in the industry, or you watch on TV as an actor or actress, they are all homosexuals because it is a rite of passage if you're going to get to be where you are. So continue to read the lyric of Ice Cube's No Vaseline. It says, "The bigger the cap, the bigger the peeling." What the hell is he talking about with that language? What does it mean, the bigger the cap, the bigger the peeling? He's talking about a man's penile organ. In homosexual activity, that means the bigger the cap, the more the person abomination is committed with gets a peeling. Let's continue reading. It says, "Who gives a F about a punk ass villain? You're getting F real quick. And Eazy's D is smelling like MC Ren's shit." Oh my goodness. So they are telling you exactly what they're doing. Homosexual activity. He said, "Trying to tell you a year ago, but Willie D told me to let a hoe be a hoe." So they are calling Dr. Dre a hoe, an effeminate male, a homosexual. Ice Cube himself, who's talking about other people being homosexual, is a homosexual himself too. So this is how the hip-hop world works. It says, "Trying to tell you a year ago, but Willie D told me to let a hoe be a hoe, so I couldn't stop you from getting ganged." Oh, wow. Can you see that? So, if you guys know the lingo in urban language, they were running a train on Dr. Dre. That is what they're literally telling you. They weren't running a train on a woman, but on Dr. Dre. So this is what we are trying to show you. Everything about hip-hop is run by homosexuals, but the homosexuality is a cover for something more sinister that when you get to the shape of our world, we don't even know how to start, because this is all cover for something else. So this is why the many YouTube videos of their agents which try to show you that all the people in the industry are homosexuals when it's covering up for something else. Let's continue on. So let's finish reading this so you can see that everything about this song and everything about hip-hop artists all speaks about homosexuality. It continues to say here in the lyrics of the song of Ice Cube, No Vaseline. Tried to diss Ice Cube, it wasn't worth it, cause the broomstick fit your ass so perfect. Goodness me. Did you just hear that? A broomstick in whose butt cheeks? Alright. Cut my hair and I'll cut them. I mean, every word on this song is talking about homosexuality. Cause I heard you're like giving up the drawers. Oh my goodness. Is this normal for men to speak this way? It's women who are supposed to be spoken to as giving up drawers. So what is the reference in talking and saying this about a man in Dr. Dre? Because the song is about Dr. Dre. Cause I heard you're like giving up the drawers, gang banged by your manager fella. Did you see that? Alright, let's continue on. So here's another song titled Ether by Nas, and this was targeted at Jay-Z. And I want you to understand, like I've explained, if you're not a homosexual, there are certain words you can never ever use. You wouldn't even talk about it because the thought of it is gross. You wouldn't even play around with somebody mentioning such words around you. That is how people who despise homosexual activity are, real males. Now, this song was a diss track by Nas to Jay-Z. And look at how the title starts. It says, "You've been on my D, nigga." Why would a grown-ass man say that to another man even as a joke? You wouldn't mention it. Why would you say that? So, one of the languages, tangos, which hip-hop culture has made it such that everybody speaks about it and thinks that it is maybe cool to say it, and that is something that is, it doesn't really mean anything. It's just a reference. If somebody's bothering you, then you can say, "You've been on my D." But that is homosexual language. It's training the people who do not follow after the commandments of the Creator to inspire in them homosexual activity, because every time you say words which are not natural, what do you think is gonna happen?